Dear students, as we have completed our discussion with the principles of Henry Fayol, so we discussed the 14 principles. You remember at the beginning I said you that principles of management which we have to discuss are two. One is the general principles of management and another is scientific principles of management or principles of scientific management. So this we have completed now. Now we are going to start with Taylor's principles of scientific management. In this we have to discuss four principles and then seven techniques also. These techniques are helpful in following these principles. You know that principles are guidelines. So to follow these guidelines, these techniques will help us. So now let us see that before we discuss the principles, now let us understand about the F.W. Taylor or Frederick Winslow Taylor. Basically, when he talks about the scientific management, the scientific management refers to an important stream of one of the earlier school of thought. You remember I talked about the different schools of thought at the beginning while we were discussing this. So out of those, this particular stream is of classical school. This is known as classical schools thought. So the other two stream in the same classical schools of thought are given by Fayol's administrative theory, which we have discussed, and there is one more we call it Max Weber's bureaucracy principles. So this is not the part of your syllabus in class 12. Maybe in your graduation, post graduation, you will discuss about Max Weber's. So we will not talk about Max Weber. Now we have to talk about his principles. So after discussing the principles given by Fayol, now we are going to talk about the scientific management principles which have been suggested by Frederick Winslow Taylor. So now let us see it. Okay, now let us understand about the life sketch of F.W. Taylor, Frederick Winslow Taylor. See, he says that scientific management means knowing exactly what you want your men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. So he proposed that a logical and rational approach should be applied to every element of a job so as to devise one best method for each activity. Frederick Winslow Taylor was also known as the father of scientific management. He was the first person who used this term scientific management. As you can see here, it is written about Frederick Winslow Taylor. Basically, he was an American mechanical engineer who wanted to improve industrial efficiency by adopting scientific methods of production. He held a degree in mechanical engineering. He belonged to the period of the Industrial Revolution, characterized by mass production. Taylor believed that existing management was unprofessional and should be studied as a discipline. In the year 1910, his health started to fall and he passed away in the year 1915 due to pneumonia. His lifespan ranged from 20th March 1856 to 21st March 1915. If we talk about his work experience, then we can say that in the year 1874, he started working as an apprentice mechanist so as to understand the factory conditions at the grassroots level. In year 1884, he became an executive at Midwell Steel Company, by the virtue of his leadership qualities. He instructed his fellow workers to work in phases. He joined the Bethlehem Iron Company in the year 1898, which later became Bethlehem Steel Company. He was initially hired to launch piece rate wage system. Consequently, after setting up the wage system, he was assigned authority and entrusted with greater responsibilities in the company. And he was successful in making Bethlehem Steel Company a showplace for inventive work. However, later on the company was sold to another group and he was discharged from his services. People say that the workers were not very happy with his style of leadership. He was chosen to be the president of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. We call it ASME from the year 1906 to 1907. He also served as a professor at Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth College, founded in the year 1900. If we see his contribution, his writings or all those things. So Taylor pioneered a new and efficient system in order to increase production. His contribution are well acknowledged in reshaping and making the factory system of production perfect. As I told you that he was the first person to coinage this term scientific management in his article The Principles of Scientific Management, which was published in the year 1911. He wrote a popular book named Shop Floor after being fired from Bethlehem Steel Company. And then some of his contribution you can see here, which is written in May 1911. It was published in the book form, the articles, series of articles which he wrote. And then Concrete, Plain and Reinforced in 1906. Then Notes on Belting, on the Art of Cutting Metals, a piece rate system, which was very popular. It was written in June 1895. Then The Making of a Putting Green, a series of articles published in 1915. Not for the genius but for the average man. It was published in the American Magazine in March 1918. So it is all about the F.W. Taylor. The main thing which we have to remember is that he actually wanted that scientific management should know exactly what you want men to do and seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. This is what he has said himself. Now this is very important thing to understand before we talk about the scientific management principles. Rule of thumb. What is rule of thumb? Rule of thumb is a broadly accurate guide or principles which are not based on experiment, which are not based on scientific research done, but it is basically based on the practice. Like I have known it by my own experience. Like if I say something, see, I am teaching for last so many years and I know that these are the things which a student do. So and based on that, if I make a decision, it is rule of thumb, right? Same way, if I ask you to do something, that this is like a puzzle, I have given you a puzzle to solve and you are solving it by hit and trial method. So trial and error method. So trial and error method is what? It is basically a fundamental method of problem solving. It is characterized by repeated varied attempts which are continued until success or until the practices stops trying. So these are two very important things to understand: rule of thumb and trial and error approach. Now let us see this video, and then you will be very clear about the rule of thumb and trial and error approach. What is it? And then what is scientific temperament or scientific management? How you will say that I'm doing it on the basis of science, not on the basis of rule of thumb. All these things you will be able to understand after seeing this video. Okay, so hope now you are very clear about seeing this video, that what is trial and error approach and how a scientific approach should be developed, or what is scientific way of solving a problem. So if we have to see based on the method of science how a problem can be solved, so the first thing what you have to do is you need to define the problem, that what is the problem. For example, you are seeing that the production is going down. So just saying that production is going down won't be enough. You need to say it with some relevant data, with some information. We have done this much production in this last so many months, so many years. This was the speed of increasing our production. Now it is not increasing as that speed, as according to that speed. That also is a problem. So define your problem very well, that what is your problem. Okay. Now after defining the problem, you have to develop the alternative solutions. One problem cannot be solved in one way only. There are 1,000 different ways to solve a problem. So please first develop all the different alternatives of the solution to solve that problem. And then if you solve this with, say, solution A, then what would be the consequences of it? If you solve it with solution B, then what would be the consequences? So in this way you need to anticipate the consequences also, means the effect of this. Like if you have a problem, say your production is not increasing. So to increase the production, there is a solution that I would increase the number of workers. But the effect or the consequences of this would be you will have to give more salary also, more wages also. So you need to anticipate the consequences also of this. So in this way, first you have defined your problem, then different alternative solution, and then for those solutions anticipate the effect of those solutions, or you can say the consequences of those solutions. If you adopt those solutions, then you need to measure the progress. If when you are giving a solution, if it is the solution adopted, say solution A, then what would be the progress? You need to measure it, apply it in the real world situation, use it, and then see whether it is progressing or not. And then finally you need to draw the conclusion, and this is how a scientific principles of management would be developed, right? It is not on the basis of trial and error method or based on your experience. See, I have been doing this management for last so many years. I know that if I do this, this will happen. If I increase the salary, people will work more. This is just it is based on my experience. But if you have to do it scientifically, then okay, you need first you identify the problem. Production going down. What is the alternative solution? Increase the salary. Then see the consequences of it. If you increase the salary, the cost of production will go up. Understand it. Then also would you be able to make that much profit which we can make? Measure these kind of progress. Okay, then you need to draw the conclusion finally that okay, if we go like this, then it will happen. Okay, now let us study the first principles of scientific management. See, I have made some changes here in the table. As earlier we were using this column, but here we were writing if these principles are not followed, violated, then what would happen? So we used to discuss the things here. Now, for scientific principles of management, I have changed it because you will require this aspect more to solve the case studies, especially. So, I am writing here if we follow this principle, then what would happen? Okay, so it is just reverse of that, and you, if it is asked that if it is not followed, then you can write the opposite of these terms also. So it will help you in both the ways, but for your convenience of explanation, I have changed it. So the first scientific principles is science, not rule of thumb. F.W. Taylor is very much against the rule of thumb. Against rule of thumb means already I have discussed that what is rule of thumb. Rule of thumb is what which you acquire after your based on your experience, not on a scientific study. So he was saying, he said that we should follow the science, not rule of thumb. He was a firm believer that to solve a problem, to do a work, there is one best method and we need to identify it, and it will not come on the basis of the experience of the people, but it will come after proper study of science and facts. As you just before this I explained this, how the study can be done on the basis of science. So scientific study is based on identifying the problem, and then you remember this, we did it. Like this. So we need to define the problem, then develop the alternate solution, all these things we did it. So now we need to find out that one best method to maximize the efficiency, and this method can be developed through study and analysis, which I told you just before this, the method how we can go for it. So the method so developed should substitute this rule of thumb. In his own word, he says that even a small production activity like loading pigs of iron into boxcar can be scientifically planned and managed, and you can save a lot of time, you can save a lot of efforts. So this can result in tremendous saving of human energy as well. If this principle is followed, then what would happen? There would be standardized results. Result will not vary always. Different times you will not get the different result. Standardized result you will get. So you will be sure about the outcome, and a specific result is guaranteed. You would be able to accomplish your objective of the organization, and you will be in a position to utilize the available resources at the optimum level. What are the key things we need to understand? A scientific method involves investigation of traditional methods through work study. What is work study? This we would be discussing while we will discuss the different techniques of scientific management principle. These are method study, time study, motion study, and fatigue study. These are the 4 things which we will discuss later on. So you need to unify the best practices and develop a standard method. That is one best method which would be followed throughout the organization. Like everyone is doing the things by trial and error method. I did it, I may be successful, I may not be successful. He said that no, you first plan, do the scientific research, develop a proper method, and that best method should be given to each and everyone to follow. And he further said that the more sophisticated the process, greater would be the savings for the organization. So take the example in the present context, the use of this internet, online classes, video conferencing, Zoom classes, all these has brought about dramatic improvement in coping up with this lockdown situation. So when you are using the more sophisticated process, the savings is greater in this regard, in this connection. So see how we are coping up with this challenging situations. Students, this example will make it very clear in your mind. Suppose there are two managers, managers A, managers B. So manager A is a believer of rule of thumb. So he goes by the hit and trial method, trial and error method. So basically rule of thumb is the application of traditional methods, or you can say the methods adopted by managers based on his past experience. Or all these methods are often untested and unscientific. So the rule of thumb method should be substituted, or the manager B, how he will do it. He will use the scientific method to study work and determine the most efficient way to perform a specific task. So he will set the work standard. The example is what? Selecting standard tools and equipment. Same way, the rule of thumb is a guide that is based on practice rather than theory. It's a general principle that comes through experience and not any scientific means. For example, there may be a rule of thumb which is being followed by this manager. He say that I do not start a new project on Saturdays because Saturday is the not lucky day for me, or maybe any other reason. This manager would not go with this. He will do the scientific research. He will test it. If the project has been started on the Saturday, then what was its result? What was its performance? Based on that, now then he will decide whether I should go ahead with the not doing the project on Saturdays or not. Now see, if this manager has to decide the standard time, that how much a worker should take time to perform a particular job. So in rule of thumb, means this manager A, if he is believer of the rule of thumb, what he will do, he will require to do a particular job is decided by the managers on the basis of his past experience. He has seen that normally a worker complete this work in 6 hours, say. So he, based on his experience only, he will say that a standard time to do this work or to do this particular job is 6 hours. But what about this manager, manager B? This manager, how he will decide the standard time? Standard time for a job should be set up scientifically by performing time study in the organization, and then the day's target should be fixed. So this way this manager B will go ahead. Like he has to decide the standard time. Now we'll conduct a scientific, you can say research, scientific, he will do the time study actually, and then he will finalize that, okay, he will ask some people to work on that particular job, and then he will decide that, okay, this much time should be taken by one worker.